Alright, welcome back everybody to Tactics Ogre. I was moving about the Earth, the map, and accidentally went into this village, not realizing it was a battle.
How many times must I say this? My goal is nothing short of a perfect restoration of soul and flesh. Achieve this, and the people of Valeria, nay, of the world entire, will be free from the fetters of mortality.
But if we restore the soul, the body withers. Revive the body, and the soul is lost. Both lead only to an imperfect death, never to what you desire. You know this, and yet you continue your foul inquiries. You're taking lives for your playthings.
No more impassioned an argument could I make for the vitality of my research than what you've just said. The knowledge is out there. All we need do is find it.
If it is knowledge you seek, why unleash your creations on innocents? Even if they are Wallister. This is massacre!
You mistake the manner for the mind. My animates do not blindly follow my will. Their souls want this bloodshed.
Souls? Naught but hatred resides in those shells of flesh. Only the vestiges of the terror they felt at their own deaths remain to drive them. Surely you know this.
You call them vestiges, but these remnants of the former self are the foundation upon which complete soul recovery can be achieved.
So if you weren't convinced by whether Nybeth is evil or not, this should be enough
Hector. Sister.
Evidence to see who's on the right
Mother.
side of things.
How could you do this to them? Don't you love them? Don't you love anything?
I do love them, which is why I keep them close. Look, Moldova and Hector remain partners for eternity. Their love will persist until their bodies decay and dust returns to dust, ash to ash.
You are mad. Wholly mad.
I fear words will never be enough to convince you. As arbiter of life and death, I hereby bind you to this place.
My legs! I'm stuck! No!
Love never dies.
Sister! Moldova, please!
Necromancer Nybeth, I feared you were behind this. Who else would send the dead against Almorica?
Ah, if it isn't my old acquaintance. Denim, was it? I see you still fail to grasp the significance of my research. A pity. Denizens of the Abyss! From ink of blackest night I summon you! Darkness to me!
So we're going to talk about this in a second. I have to wait for this cutscene to finish, because there's a little bit of a stinker at the at the end.
I'm afraid you mistake me. I did not direct anyone living. They wished it for themselves. Particularly that one.
Our buddy Vice. He quite dead.
Vice!
You said you abandoned. You abandoned me.
No, that was not the way of it.
Alright, so let's talk real quick about everything that's occurred here. As I said before, if you weren't sure that Nybeth was evil, here's a perfect example of why he kind of needs to not go. He needs to go away, stay away, forever and ever. Nybeth, they're arguing back and forth about it. She says to him, don't you realize that when you revive the body, the soul's not there, and when you revive the soul, the body's not, it won't take to a body. And he says, well, no, that's all the reason for the importance for my research, because when I am capable of marrying the two concepts together and reviving the body and placing the soul back into the body, we'll be able to live forever. Okay, great. Now, as we stand right now, he's not able to do that. There's a good chance that that's not possible at all, to marry the body and the soul together, as in you can only get one or the other. You cannot have both. And so, with all of that being known and all of that being as true as we can say, here we have Cassandra and Moldova and Hector and Vice all in their bodies. They have their bodies, but you have to assume, since this is not a perfect science, if they have their bodies, they have no soul. They are lacking their souls, their consciousness. They are just husks of flesh, So because they lack that, you can see why, the one mother, I don't know which one's which, because they look the same, but one of the two cut her down. Without, what mother would cut down their child? What sister would cut down their sister? I mean, yeah, you could get, if you do something evil enough and you end up on opposite sides of, say, a war, I could see that happening. But like, what brother would cut down another brother? And what sister would cut down another sister? And what mother would murder their child if they're not completely nuts, completely off the rocker? But here they are, corpses without souls, doing Nybeth's business, and all he can say is, well, no, they're don't you see the beauty? They're here together forever until their bodies rot away. They are forever together. But again, when you lose your ability to think and ration and live, are you really living anymore? And I think that's part of the argument that's being presented here, is that, with them only being husks of their former self, they're not truly alive anymore. And then if she brings in this other fact that when you when you resurrect the dead, all they remember is the moment of their death, and they're stuck in this anguish and agony of their death until they're eventually put to rest again. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? Anyways, aside from the philosophical point I wanted to make here, and the fact that he's just using the corpses of his family and loved ones as experimental pieces in his ever-growing research project, i.e. life has no value to him, only as it serves, the only purpose it serves is to further his research. And he needs the dead to further his research so he can bring the dead to a reanimated, reliving situation to ultimately try to thwart death. So anyways, in terms of this battle, I brought 2 griffins and an octopus. And I thought the octopus could run up the waterfall here. Turns out the octopus cannot do that. So in this particular case, the octopus was a poor choice. I would do it again. I would not include the octopus here. He is stronger in the water, but I don't think that really, in terms of how much damage he does, I don't think that justifies him. His inclusion in this battle, I mean. Not strong enough, I don't think. But anyways, The griffins, however, are ideal for this because they move really far. They're not affected by height, and they're not super great damage dealers. But when we're talking about taking down mages, pretty good. And again, I get them up there in order to try to... First of all, we got to take out the 2 necromancers that are not Nibeth, because they have the ability to raise new undead soldiers out of nothing. So unlike your necromancer, who can only recruit undead, some undead, not all undead, just some undead. I think just the phantoms you can recruit. And they have a lot of the other, abilities to control undead units, revive them, heal them, etc. You can't use your necromancers to just pull creatures out of the ground. Now, Nibeth and the 2 other necromancers on the board can do that. So, if I were to give you suggestions to help you, if you're playing this level, I would say your first priorities have to be getting rid of the 2 necromancers. And then shortly thereafter, follow up by getting rid of Nibeth. One of the difficulties of this particular level is the fact that you're here on what we'll just call ground level. I understand there's a step or 2 below where we're standing that could be considered lower. But essentially you need to make your way up to where Nibeth's standing. And you're slowed by the fact that there are not only enemies getting in your way, but also you're trying to move up elevation-wise, and that's slowing your progression because your characters can only move so many spaces, and because you're on the low ground, it makes it difficult to fire missiles, i.e. arrows, shoot your gun, cast spells that aren't AoE spells. And so, again, the Griffins come in great help here because they get you up into the battle where the 2 necromancers and that spirit that's standing right there is. And then that allows your other guys that are slower movers to deal with the skeleton and the other Umbra character that's just north of that, that's at the right next to the one necromancer and the griffin. So they're not as important to get rid of right away. You do want to get rid of them, obviously, because they're blocking your path. But you can use a turn or 2 with your other human characters to move them up into position to get rid of them. Whereas you're using your griffins to focus down on the magic dealers and to a lesser degree that hawk guy that's up there. And then if you've given them what's it called? If you've given them, revive-y potion, they're like gems, revival gems. You can use the griffin to drop the revival gem on Cassandra or Cassandra or whatever, and then you can revive her. Now, I mentioned a few episodes back, there's a big downside to this because she, unlike her Sybil sister, half-sister, whatever, will not leave the battlefield upon resurrection. So if you're using an item or you're using a resurrection spell, at least as far as the ones that I have on my characters right now, there might be a better resurrection spell I'm not aware of. But in terms of the spells I have and the items I have, when I revive her, she can be revived to no more than 1/4 of her health. Oh, side note, if you revive her and then kill off the 2 necromancers that are her mother and her sister, she'll have dialogue. I don't you put her at risk by reviving her, so I'm trying to move my characters up around her so that area that she's standing in is as secure as I can get it. Plus or minus Nibeth being alive. Nibeth is a very big problem in this level. He's going to spend the first 2 turns like he does in the other battles, using magic MP increasing herbs. And then on his 3rd or 4th turn, he is going to begin to start raining down AoE spells and dark magic, missile spells on you. And so you want to do this. And I know this isn't going to be the most efficient way to kill him, because I'd much rather use a spell or like bullet or anything else, because 88 damage is pathetic. But he doesn't move very fast, and I've got 2 griffins, so I should be able to get up there and get in his face and get rid of these other necromancers and spirits and anyone else who could threaten the person I'm trying to recruit. Because once you revive her, she's at 10%, 25% health. And if there's a guy like that Hawkman or Nibeth or whatever, they will wipe her out. So you not only have to figure out when you're going to revive her, mind you got plenty of time to do it, because her revival turns don't come up all that quickly. But you also have to have a plan right behind, that to immediately heal her. She does have something that'll revive 300 of her health, which is useful. But I've found that if you get your guys too close to her and they're too low on health, she may use it on them instead of herself. And I'm thinking like, okay, I get the way this program is programmed, but you think the character who you just revived would use the healing potion on themselves instead of prioritizing your player characters. That's the other thing you got to worry about, is as you get closer, he has a necromantic ability to pull from your character's health and immediately turn that into MP. It's very dangerous. It's very advantageous when you have a necromancer, but it's very dangerous when you're fighting Nibeth, who's very strong and very overpowered. That's this battle in a nutshell. Once you've knocked out the 2 necromancers and Nibeth, and you've managed to secure you've secured the girl, and she's revived and not going to die, and you've got her healed up to full, you're safe after that point. You're safe. I say you're safe because she's not going to charge into the front lines as a visitor character. By securing the area around her, you're not going to have any quote-unquote surprises other than these 2 Hawkmen that are going to suddenly jump in and just fucking end her life. And yeah, she'll just stay back and just use her magic as she has, your MP as she has it, which is usually pretty good, either direct damage or area of effect damage spell. So you can see we're just clearing out the remnants. I'm going to have Donalto heal, but not on this turn, because you can see right after is this hawk person who would more than likely, who probably has something that'll take out her in 1 turn. So yeah, instead we're going to do that. Get rid of that guy. Get rid of the other one. Probably here in a turn or 2 with our with so bad with names, it's not even funny. So yeah, my original plan was I was going to have the octopus go up the waterfall here, and then ultimately start attacking Nibeth with the whatever attacks I could muster, whether they be direct damage or spells thrown at him. But I don't know. So again, the plan is to wipe out the last of the characters that are here. I'm giving Canifis a haste because I want him to fly over to the other side if need be to take care of Nibeth. And he's got both arrows and magic and the ability to fly, so he seems like the prime candidate to get rid of him, because I think Nibeth will leave at when he's at either half health or third health or quarter health, somewhere in there. And he doesn't have a ton of health either. It's not like he's got 2,000 health and I gotta whittle him down, 100 health at a time. He's got like 1,000, and I could probably do about 300 to 500 or 300 damage with just an arrow attack. Would you die, please? Thank you. 500 damage is good damage. However, that would be 5. Oh, that works. Sweet. So in addition to, I was going to say, dragons have the ability to throw rocks, but so do most of the other monster characters, so we're going to continue to soften him up. And then I'll probably bring Canifis, should probably come in and finish this off now. He's got 68 MP, which is enough for a finisher. I'm not sure if the finisher is going to be enough to get him out of this mission, but a direct damage is definitely not. Wow. Wow. Alright, well, 200 minus what? 500. So that'll put him below 300 health. So that would be, he'd be under half health at that point. I'm just seeing if he can, he can go to sleep. Looks like he is not immune to sleep. I imagine he's probably got high resistance to it though. So he probably will not put him to sleep.
Well, now this will not do.
Okay.
No,
Well, whatever the trigger is, I managed to get underneath of it. So he's leaving the battlefield now.
I'm sure we'll meet again.
Yes. Meet again, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It looks like we've done most of what we want to do.